Contrast that to GUANG. It's about two brothers growing up together. The mother passed away when the two brothers were small, and on her dying bed, she made the younger brother promise to take care of his older brother. And that, to me, makes this story so real and relatable. So let's get to the questions. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So let me ask the first question. QUEK, could you share the inspiration behind the movie GUANG?
The inspiration of the movie GUANG came from my elder brother, who is very much like the character, has autism spectrum disorder, as well as perfect pitch. So like the character, he can identify musical notes. So it was one day that I walked into his room, and he collected a roll of broken piano keys from the junkyard, right? So he was playing on them with verve and full of feelings, but there's no sound that was produced by those keys. So out of curiosity, I was like, hey, you're playing a song without sound, isn't that a little meaningless? And then he turns to me and says, that's because you cannot hear the notes. I can, so it's very much meaningful to me. And that to me, that was the seed of this idea. But of course, the short film came much later. It was over at his place, balcony, where we intend to make this short film. So we kind of linked the whole, this emotion of or this actual thing that happened with my mother to the emotion of, say, how do we tell joy through an autistic person's perspective?
Yeah, at that time, I think it was the 2011 BMW Shorties competition.
Yeah.
And what we set out to do at the time was to win the competition because you were young filmmakers and you were trying to make it out in the real world. And what we knew, what we wanted to do then was definitely to tell a true story, a story that we knew how to tell. We knew not to try and create stories that are not
fantasy
or like we've seen a lot of I think film students and all that do that as well, make that mistake. We felt that it was important for us to tell something that we knew how to tell, and QUEK's experience definitely brought us into making that short film.
Yep.
Right. So for the audience, they may not know, GUANG started out as a 15-minute film. It won the BMW short film in 2011. And maybe you could speak a little bit about what was the process of expanding that short film into this 88-minute film?
I mean, when we decide to say make a movie, I mean, it has always been our dream to make a movie. Even during the short film time, we have always aspired to be like movie makers, filmmakers, feature-length filmmakers.
I think even when we were making the short film, we were already saying, what if we did this? Then no, only if it's a feature film can we do certain things. Like for example, the glass arrangement in the short film, he just puts up a lot of glass, and in the climax of the film, he just GUANG plays glass. But in the film, he builds this glass harmonica, which you can't tell in a short film because we had to simplify certain things like that. So I think it's always meant for that. But then how did we expand it?
I think after GUANG, the short film, we made a couple of more short films. So in the attempt to say prepare ourselves to make a movie, so the duration got longer and longer, from 15 to 30 to 45.
Yeah.
But when the chance finally comes, the opportunity kind of comes when when Sabrina, our producer, got the grant, like, hey, here's a grant. If you guys always wanted to make a movie,
because now
you get the chance.
like a lot of people, they always say they want to make films, but they don't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
Until our producer, hey, we're gonna get this. It's gonna happen. So you have to make the movie now, and we're like,
what movie? And we go, okay, then let's make one. Let's make the movie that
we knew we wanted to tell something again.
Because
it's a long format, and we've never done it to tell something that we knew how to tell. So
and out of all our short films that we did, we like GUANG the most.
No, we grabbed it. It was the most. It was the most real, also, I think. Yeah.
That's fantastic, guys. So I think a lot of people want to know, how did you cast the, tell us about your casting process, because the actor who plays Guang, he's amazing. So how did you cast the actors in the movie, if you could speak about that?
Yeah, so we have to go back to 2011 when we are attempting to make the short film. We found him 4 days before the shoot. If we haven't found him, I was supposed to play Guang, which I'm sure is going to be a nightmare. He was introduced to us by our production manager, by Edmund. So 4 days before that, they were church mates. So 4 days before, we had a lot of trouble casting Guang. There were a lot of people who came in with their different interpretation of Guang, but none of them kind of feel anywhere close.
Different interpretation of autism, I would say.
Yes.
And their eye lines weren't right, or it was not an easy thing to pull off, I guess.
Yeah. And Kyo was the closest, and I mean, even at the short film, he really nailed it. But from the short film onwards, it has always been toyed that, hey, one day we are going to make a movie, Guang. So, you got to evolve your character, because instead of 15 minutes, now you have to hold the audience's attention for 90 minutes. And he has been working on it. If you've seen the short film compared to
the short film, Guang is a lot more sad, I think, and a lot more serious, takes himself a lot more seriously. And I think for the film, we wanted to also show a different side of autism that's more fun, that's more lighthearted and more accessible, like a real person, rather than treated him like
So Kyo put a lot of work into crafting this character. Years and years of crafting this character. So I'm glad you like the results.
I think the audience loved it, actually. This question to both of you: autism is not really a subject that's talked about. Certainly, it's almost taboo in Asia. When you made that movie, were you perhaps a little bit worried that no one would watch the movie, or were you surprised by all the awards that you consequently won? Because you won quite a few awards in Macau, in Fukuoka, in Japan, I believe Shanghai, in Malaysia, where the film was screened.
I think at the get-go, a lot of people has raised concern about the formula, because after all, in Malaysia, the films that generally sell really well are action and horror movies. And Guang being a family film, at the get-go, the formula itself, we kind of know that we are zoned into a place where the box office sales is not going to be exceptional. But we have our hopes high. We never give up, in the sense that we always have hopes that as long as we do our best to make a good film that can touch people and can be appreciated by the mass, in that sense, that the message is universal. The good message they want to include is universal. It could do okay in the box office.
But more than that, also, we never, I certainly never looked at it like an autism film. Yes, the main character is autistic, but more than that, it was really a story about two brothers. That's how I think we went in. Even during the short film, we told ourselves, yes, that's what it is. Autism is just a personality or a character, rather than the central focus of the story. So I think that's how we went in. With it. I think, and it's interesting that you mentioned Rain Man. One observation we made that we were conscious not to do in Guang was that many of the autism, because we did our research and watched a lot of our films, autism films at that time, and a lot of these autism films, in the story, the main character, like for example Tom Cruise, is newly introduced to Dustin Hoffman.
That's
right? So then, therefore, you get to see, as the audience is learning about autism, through Tom Cruise learning about autism as well. But in Guang, at the start of the film, they already know each other. You get a peek into their lives. straight away at how an older brother or a younger brother would treat his older brother on a normal level rather than, just get to know him. And that's something that QUEK brought into the film, because it's all his own experiences growing up with his older brother. I think that's what's personal about this film, at least, and different with all the other autism films.
So one more question for me before I open it up to the floor. How much of the story was then based on real life events for you, QUEK?
Inspired by real events, quite a lot. I would think 70-80%. I mean, like running away from home, doing projects even until today. The interest that he has, the amount of sensitivity that he has towards the pitch of each of the sounds made. I mean, of course, it's not told in a documentary style where I just directly portray what's real to the audiences. It's more on reinterpreting what happened, especially during the childhood, because my brother grew up to be very different from this GUANG character. But at the time where he was 13, 14, this is quite close. I mean, his character is quite close to this. So it's based on a lot of things that happened during our childhood together.
I think that swimming in the pool is a very good example of something that truly happened in QUEK's life, where the brother just goes swimming in the longkang, in the drain, in front of all the school kids, and all the school kids. Like, that's something that you personally experienced that your brother did.
Yep. That was 100% translated. Yeah.
That's great. So let's see here. I think we should take some questions from the floor. For those on the floor who have a question, if you could say your name and identify your affiliation. So while waiting for some questions, I will ask another question. So you touched on the music earlier, the making of music, and I think that's an integral part of the film. Can you explain the relationship with music in this film?
All three of us siblings, so my sister is a singer for the theme song, by the way, so we did receive, say, proper classical music training. And it is discovered that, my brother has perfect pitch, which is something that I never understand and never get to feel it until today, because I don't have. And it is something that always amazes me, even since I was a kid, that he was able to identify, say, not just the tone, but a quarter of the tone, which of course he takes pride of. So in terms of learning music, my brother is very technically gifted, but he lacks the emotion that, say, a normal person would have, because in his world, emotions are very different from our world. Just like how when he watches this film, he will never be touched, which is why in terms of music, that would be the relationship that I have with him. But say a certain melody will definitely trigger the emotion of sadness, the emotion of touch in him, which might be very different from, say, the rest of us.
But also, I think more on that, adding to what QUEK said, I think the theme song is composed by SHIO, which is QUEK's sister. And the story is about his brother, and the singing was also by his sister. And I think also the
last song that you hear as they are walking into the sunset, and a few more of the soundtrack is.
So it's truly, and it was her homage to him, right? The lyrics. It's such a family, or homage to the brother, thing, which I find really amazing about it.
Yeah, the music is very uplifting. Makes you happy, I think. It's great. Can I get back to the floor? Oh, good. I see some questions. Can we take the gentleman on the second floor? The second row, excuse me. That's right. Oh, there's a microphone, so we can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, we can.
My name's Ruben. I'm a journalist in Hong Kong with the Agence France Presse news agency. Thanks for your film. So, as well as you say, it's a family movie. It has a strong emotional core, obviously, but I also thought it had some very striking imagery that was quite amazing with the broken glass and so on. I wondered, did you, when making the film, was it that kind of heightened sense of perception from autism that seemed something very cinematic to you, and how did you go about trying to capture some of that sense of perception in the movie and capture some of those sequences?
I think growing up with my brother and being within the autism spectrum myself in certain ways, as you can see from the framing itself, there was a lot of symmetrical framing, even at the poster itself. These are the things that that will usually awaken the senses of my brother. He likes really calculated, symmetrical items, visuals. He's especially sensitive to numbers. And he likes to calculate everything. If he prefers symmetrical than say organic stuff, and that is something that we try to translate in the visual. And as you can see, the framing at certain points, especially when he's under stress, is always one long take without many cuts. When he's happy, it's always many cuts. So in that sense, we translate more than just the framing, but also in the edit pace and the tempo of the film. And that would be kind of my half interpretation of what autism, my humble attempt on
conveying
what
what you see in your brother. And also, I think the other thing I would like to point out is that shot where there was a shot where Guang was walking from the side, and then it was a slope, but then we touched it, so it seemed like as if in his world everything is right, but you know that as the audience, you know that something wrong with the frame. But then when we cut to the same shot again, when the brother is coming home, that it's normal again. And now this time you see the brother walking in that frame rather than Guang. So it's things like that we try to convey. And I'm so glad that someone notices things like that, because normally those are the things that goes under the radar. We don't get questions like that, I guess, sometimes.
And it makes you wonder, the Guang shot, is it more beautiful than the actual slope? So these are the things that we try to inject and to play with.
And I noticed recently they did that on the Joker as well. And like, hey, did they copy us?
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did. Just kidding.
That's great. That's great. I saw a lot of hands go up. Maybe the gentleman in the second last row in the middle with the blue shirt, gray shirt actually. That's a.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Wei Han. I'm 17. I'm a student here in Hong Kong.
Hi, Wei Han.
I really liked your cinematography. Your filming, and there are a few shots that are really cool. So one was the when he fell on the bike, and then the camera seems to go through the wheel and up, and sort of like flying up, seeing his face. How'd you film that?
There was a craft by our director of photography, Eric Yong. And how we filmed that is we filmed it without the wheel. And then we filmed the wheel without the spokes separately.
So we cut the spokes.
We cut the spokes so that the camera can go through it. And we put the spoke back on 3D.
Because 3D is, if it's just one thin line, it's easy to just put it in convincingly without you knowing that.
Yeah.
Because we obviously don't have big budgets for, so we had to do things intelligently, but still make it feel like it's real. So I think that was.
I mean, the entire Guang, the film, the movie, is made with this fine line in between, where the 3D is only to support the realism. It's just like how it goes through the aquarium into the siphon, into the pail. Just like camera going through the bicycle wheel, we try to shoot as much as possible the real thing. So even like the siphon shot is actually shot with a really little GoPro camera.
Was it GoPro? Yeah.
I forgot. Going through a bigature tube that we built. So we built this really big siphon with the blue thing, and we keep throwing all the grass, the seaweed, and we put water and we put a small camera to emulate the actual siphon. So we try to achieve as much as we can on camera.
But when it was going into the aquarium, that shot is that in between here and into the aquarium, when it goes into the siphon, that part was 3D.
Yeah.
Only that part. Only the short.
Only the short part. Yeah.
2 seconds. The rest is live.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic. I think there were a few more hands. Yes. Third row at the back, the lady with the glasses.
Hi, I'm Grace. I once worked as producer for photo and video, so this is amazing. I'm just thinking from, as a Malaysian working in film, one, why Mandarin as the main language of the film? And two, clearly you're both not Chinese, and not all your team is Chinese. And that, as a Malaysian, that's a big question. Why, how did you come up with a multicultural team? And how did that work for a mainly Mandarin-speaking movie? because in Malaysia that's not a thing. It's either English
Yep.
or you are Chinese, you speak Chinese, or Malay, you speak. It's so racially segregated on set too. So those two questions: why Mandarin, and how did you create such a good team together?
I think first for our set, for all the stuff that we do, like the TNV shoot, the patronage, the commercial shoots, we always try, even within our company itself, to have like a balance of multiculturalism, because we believe that especially the kind of work that we do, we're doing patronases and TNVs, Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, Deepavali. It's insights about knowing each other's well enough for us to tell those stories. So we try to permeate it into our corporate culture. When we hire our crew.
Actually, we don't try so hard. It's just like that. I mean, he married a Chinese wife. The other two company partner, Chinese married Malay.
Yes.
I'm actually Chinese, but I'm banana, so I can only speak. I cannot read and write. and the entire crew of Guang, the assistant director is Sinhalese. It's Sinhalese. He can't speak Mandarin as well.
Malay.
Yeah. So it's a really good mixture of races in terms of, say, in the crew. And because us being from commercial background, actually, in the movie industry, yes, it's very segregated. Yes. Malay film, Malay crew, Chinese film, Chinese crew. Malay only watch, that one is still the same. Audience-wise, Malay only watch Malay films, Chinese only watch Malay films.
It's a market.
It's a market. And yes, by choosing a Chinese film, automatically our target audience becomes a lot smaller than the whole mass of Malaysian.
Correct.
But why did we choose it is because this is ultimately my mother tongue, and how I grew up with my brother. This is how I grew up with him. Even though I couldn't read, I couldn't write, this is the language that we speak. And as you probably can tell, we kept it as close to the actual nuances and actual slang that we speak. Because even in Malaysian film themselves, the Chinese film don't speak like how we speak on the streets. And it is something that we feel we should keep it as authentic as possible. Since the story is so authentic, the language should not be of something that is made out. Like the usual media that we consume here.
But also in the last 5 years, there has been, or maybe eight years, there has been an uprising of really, really good Mandarin films that make a lot of money. Like The Journey made like 20 million. At that time, it was the biggest box office, a Mandarin film. Who would have thought? And true that Malaysia is segregated in its audiences, not like Thailand. One Thai film, every Thai also watch.
One language.
Filipinos or Indonesia. And we have to cater for certain race. There's no such thing as a truly Malaysian film. What is a truly Malaysian film? We're also different, But yeah, that's the challenge that we face as artists in this landscape, in the multicultural landscape.
But next film, Malay. I want to try that also.
We look forward to that. That's fantastic. So I saw some hands coming out in the middle. Yes, the gentleman there with his hands up and the glasses. If we could get a mic there. Right there. Yes.
I'm Stanley,
Hi.
artist and also filmmaker from Hong Kong. Thanks for bringing this Malaysian very laugh and tears, very good film. And actually, this film reminds me, I saw few films from Malaysia back 10 to 20 years ago from Yasmin Ahmed. She's my very good friend. And then your film is very, very same direction. Also, when I hear your CV also working on Patronus, which Yasmin also working on Patronus before she passed away. I want to hear, my question is you guys, the direction, the humanistic, social kind of stories, is a Malaysian film kind of values, you very, as your kind of insights or bringing to the world, or it is not the mainstream? This is where you guys are too alternative that we don't know. That's my question.
Yasmin is really a figure that inspired us a lot, especially when we start out as filmmakers, We often ask ourselves, what kind of films do we want to make? And it is always Yasmin's spirit of the humanitarianism. They're always sending out a positive message. This is something that we keep true. Like we value that even until today.
But we don't. I think we try our best to be ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Although we love her films, I think what we really hold as something truly important is to be ourselves when we tell our stories. I think that's been something that we've been from the beginning lah.
And even the style of making films, currently I've deviated a lot further than this.
Yeah, because I was his producer, but now I'm directing and he's directing.
Yeah, so I moved on to a much more comedic kind of genre.
But the humanistic aspect is something definitely that we always wanna, we've always gravitated to lah. In all our even subsequent short films after GUANG, I think it's because I don't know why. Why do we do?
But in terms of say how far left this is pretty left. I mean, you don't see much Malaysian films like this because a lot of Malaysian films are made with the intention to make money out of the box office.
Yeah.
Which they won't end up with this formula, I'm sure. That's what.
And I think it's because of that nature itself. Because QUEK also did a lot of Petronases before I started doing the Petronases.
Yep.
And at that time, it was the Leo Burnett, the advertising agency, that saw the short film, then realized that, hey, these guys, and at the time there was a void in the storytellers because after Yasmin's passing, the films weren't really that good. So then, so the creative director of, executive director of Leo Burnett, that was once Yasmin's position, saw the short film GUANG, and then, hey, I want this guy to be doing Petronas, so then he got us in, and that's actually how our career in the advertising industry started. After that, we were doing Colgate ads before that. Scan your teeth in the shopping mall, check whether got tartar. Oh, got tartar. Oh, hey, or dynamo put inside the washing machine. We were doing those kind of jobs.
Not so fun jobs.
Prior to the short film. So it's because of GUANG we are doing the Petronases and
the more storytelling, the more sentimental.
Yeah.
That's right. So if I could squeeze in a question here, as you both point out, you both have a commercial film background, and I think GUANG was your first feature film. What were some of the challenging aspects of putting together GUANG?
Oh, we could go on and on about that. But let's start with the duration.
I think let's start with the finance.
Let's start with the finance, yes.
So we were commercial filmmakers, right? And then we wanted to make these movies. We went to a couple of studios, which I will not mention who. But then everyone told us the same thing lah. Your film only got 2 people inside. They talk the whole movie.
No action, no goals.
I make money somewhere you never make movie before. You think commercial same as movie Commercial very short, movie very long. So those are the scripts that we hear when we wanted to find funding. So then we're like, you know what? We got this grant, but it was a 40% reimbursement grant, which means we needed the money to be in our band before we could. And we didn't want sponsors coming in. Because that would start dictating the story and telling us we need more characters or whatever that people were trying to advise us at the time. So what we did was we tightened our belts. We made
a lot of commercials.
Commercials. Pulled our money up and we made the movie. That's how the film was done with our own money. Of course, later on we had. When the film was made, then we could sell some rights, and MM2 was our distributor that was supporting us from the start. So they came in and they're like, hey, we want to be a part of this. And
MM2 producing it really made it happen, made the film happen for us, MM2 producing it. But in terms of, say, other than finance, creative-wise, so used to doing 2-3 minutes content, suddenly expanding it to, say, 90 minutes. Of course, I mentioned we did a couple of short films from 15 minutes to 30 to 45. But once you break that 3-act structure into a movie, it is a whole new challenge. And it took me 11 months to just write a script, which usually in a commercial, 1 month we can do from. 1 month we can do a whole ad.
3 days is okay.
3 days. 3 days we can finish the script, which of course it is something that I wasn't trained then. So this was a very intense training in terms of, say, adapting to this duration of work. Not just scripting, all the way from directing to shooting, a lot of days, editing took years, to finally come to the final edit.
And because we were our own financiers, we could take years editing the film. There's no sponsor coming in there. Hey, when's the film gonna be done so I can make money from it?
Partially it's also because after seeing the first edit, we knew that we kind of need to reshoot, so we need to make more commercials.
To shoot another 4 days because the edit wasn't working. So.
Yeah.
So we did whatever we could to make it the best way we could make it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's no denying from a commercial compared to a movie, it is a lot more challenging, but it is also a lot more fun, and we definitely learned a lot, not just in terms of say making a film, but we learned a lot more about ourselves in making this movie, which is, I think, more important.
And it was a great result. It was a wonderful result. So
Thank you.
I think there were some more hands on the floor. Yes, the gentleman at the back. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for putting together this great movie. My name is Joseph. I'm the CEO of a hedge fund in Hong Kong. And importantly, I'm a neighbor of Saniza. Thank you for
Hi, Joseph. Sorry.
Thank you for giving the ticket. The movie is very touching. My question is about the end. I wonder why about the story. Why didn't you let GUANG and the young lady start dating each other to make it more romantic, you know? Or did you think about it, or you intentionally made the brothers to have a sort of like a conflict in terms of that? Did you think about it?
Because until today, my brother is still a virgin, has not dated anyone, has only taken interest in items, has intentionally kept himself away from relationship. I think partially due to the many trauma during the younger age dealing with people. So I've kept it true to that. Of course, I hope one day he meets someone.
He's got Angela though.
Oh, he's got Angela. Yeah, he's got Angela. And that is true. That the blanket that you see in the film, it is my brother's imaginary.
It's the actual blanket.
Yeah, it's the actual girlfriend.
No, then my follow-on question is for people with autism, for guys, do they really have the emotion? I mean, sexual relationship, or they don't understand that?
They do.
They do,
and,
right? Okay.
Yeah, they do. And my brother has his own creative ways of releasing. But I've explained to him in many ways that yes, you can get creative however you want. Just keep it in your room.
But do they?
Don't ever tell anyone. They tell me. I'm okay. Don't tell anyone. Not in your workplace. Don't share with your colleagues. Just tell me.
So I have a deeper question. Why GUANG was not crying when his mom was dying, but he cried when his glasses were broken? So they don't have. Do they have human being attachment?
This is something that scares me in certain ways. Looking at my brother and how he reacts to things. It is like the time where my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and I was weeping, and he was just there. And I kind of saw that he turned around and have a little smile, almost. And that really disturbed me. And it is something that took me very long to understand. That there are certain basic emotions that we feel is so, factual, that to them it is just totally something else. Okay. And my brother is the kind that could, say, play chess with an AI, an artificial intelligence, because he doesn't play multiplayer anyways. So he only plays with AI. He loses a chess game and he can cry for 3 days. He's the kind of guy that will reach a T-junction in the car and he notices a traffic light with 3 lights on. So red, amber, green, all lights on. He could laugh at it for a week. So the emotion spectrum and how they, identify with the different emotions is very, very different from us. Which is why the film that you see, it is our interpretation. And this is, of course, catered to, say, the audiences that are closer to us in terms of, say, emotional range. When my brother watches this film, he doesn't feel touched at all. He watches it once and that's it. And no particular emotion. Every time I show him the film, he will ask me one question. Has the audiences heard the low C? Okay, to explain that is the song that is played when GUANG run away from home. And the younger brother. So that is actually played by my brother.
He played that song.
He played the song. He intentionally injected a note that is lower than the actual key of the piano by an octave, which is a low C.
Yeah.
So he's asking me every time, has anyone heard?
And that was a CHUAN song which you won't notice the note lah.
Yeah. So as you can see with these few examples, the emotion range that an autistic person has is very different. How he interprets happiness, how he interprets sadness, joy.
But that's exactly what the film set out to try and do. When the climax moment when he's playing that piano piece is his way of grieving for his mother. And it took him that long to build this together and play Home Sweet Home so that he could grieve for her because he couldn't do it in the room. Of course, this is our interpretation and we don't know whether that's how autistic people think, but that's how we choose to tell that story.
And
so that we will be able to understand why autistic people do certain things.
And writing this ending and writing this kind of structure make me understand more about my brother, so to speak.
And only if you know deep insights about that that person's life, would you know the reasons why he does certain things, especially when it comes to an autistic person.
How true is that? I saw some hands go out in the front row. Juan, get you a mic.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I guess you don't see me. My name is Juan Gavarron. I'm from the Gavarron Foundation Asia. It's a cultural institution. And first, congratulations. It's a piece of art.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I would like to ask you a couple of questions. First, if the movie you aim to do, besides the artistic movie, give a message that society can give something back or create awareness in a big sense, if that was your intention, if that happened. And secondly, if you have yourself changed anything after the movie, yourself or your relationship with your brother. Thank you.
I think let's talk about the first question first. We have intentionally tried to deviate it to say position GUANG as a charity film. Because I think from the tone of the movie, you can tell that what we set to do is more say, there are a lot of different people in this world. There's a lot of people that are different from us. And no matter what position you are in, whether you are the mass, whether you are the relative of someone who's different, whether you are the different one, it is most important to say, have joy. Find joy and find something that radiates within you that brings you joy in life. And it is something that the spirit of GUANG is trying to convey, other than say, oh yeah, so pity, you know, it's always pitying the character of the unfortunate brother.
We didn't want anyone to pity GUANG for being autistic in the film from the beginning.
Let's focus on the positive. Let's focus on the special thing. Focus on the different thing. And that is our intention. In terms of the second question, I have definitely changed a lot. Now, after making this film, I've switched a very drastic switch of genre actually in terms of my work. So I've gone full on comedy for a while. And I thought it was just a phase, but I haven't stopped since. And ISMAIL is still pretty much in.
But before after he did GUANG, he went into depression first.
Yes.
And then he started doing comedy, and now he's A-okay. GUANG really set the life out of him.
The editing process, because after spending all the money that we made commercial, we spent all the money on this film. No distributor wanted to buy this film because it was too left-wing. It was too unable to sell their projection of the sales. And that one really drove me into depression because after...
that was before the film's release now.
This is during the offline series, which is why the edit took so long. It took 3 years to edit this film because I was the one editing it, which is a mistake. And then I went into a brief period of depression because of this film.
But I think that's how. And now he's an athletic. He rides bikes. He's trying to get me to ride more bikes and just like running and all this. And he wasn't like that at all. I think it was all post GUANG.
I was a chain smoker. Shooting this, I had a really terrible backache. So I even in the making of video, I was always in my back brace, smoking every day, 2 packs a day. I really kind of, in a wrong way, sacrifice my mental and physical health, thinking that it's for art, which is very wrong.
So I think GUANG made us hit rock bottom.
It made us really truly question ourselves what's important in life.
For us to be this great positive person you see before you.
But it's great. I think that's really important to be able to learn those things by making a film.
That's great. Could you spoke a little bit about the funding? Could you tell us how you raised your funding? Because this, it can be quite a struggle, right? Coming in from a commercial background, it's not mainstream. Studio system, yeah. Do you want to share the?
I think until today, I still can't figure out the business side of filmmaking. I mean, movie making, not commercial. Commercial is like, yeah, that's easy. Like I said earlier, we use our own money. We had a 40% reimbursement grant from MDEC that pushed us to make this film. But I think because we had our own free will to do whatever we wanted with it, and nobody meddled with our own creativity, and we could tell it as honestly as we can, is the result of this film itself, which might not ever happen again. I think even for future films that we make,
which might not. We might just approach MM2 from the beginning instead of asking them from help at the end. That would have made our life a lot easier.
we were being very precious with we wanted to make our own mistakes as well, without people telling us don't do this, don't do that, because you know what, it's not like you're making great films anyways, you know, and you're telling us don't do this, don't do that, you know. So we wanted to make our own mistakes and all that. So everybody tells you don't make your film with your own money, and that's precisely what we did. I would advise anyone in the future to don't make your own movie with your own money.
And don't edit your own film.
But we didn't lose. Just to let you guys know, we got back everything that we put in. We didn't make, but we got back everything that we put in. And for that, we are already very thankful. Because most films don't even, most first-time filmmakers don't even, in Malaysia especially, don't even make back their money.
Yeah.
Some advice for filmmakers out here. So do we have any more questions? Yes, Joe, if we could get a mic to, yes.
Hi, my name is Jo. I'm actually an EXCO with the Malaysia Chambers, and I work full-time at HSBC. Many congratulations again. The film is amazing.
Thank you.
And well done. I just wanted to take up from Juan's question, actually, the message that you're hoping to deliver or not. My take of it, though, there seem to be two kind of awareness as well. One is maybe about waste. Two is homelessness. Is that deliberate? And also, second question is, what's your direction going forward? I know, QUEK, you said you've gone into comedy. So are you going to be changing your genre anytime soon, or are you going to stick with it and see where it takes you? Thanks.
In terms of, say, the ruggedness, the crunchiness of the film, waste, those are, we try to portray as real as possible. What is the actual texture? In comparison to, say, the tourism video that you see, it's always very sparkly and, you know, twin towers. We try to convey the real Kuala Lumpur, so to speak. And what was that one? Waste and
homelessness.
Homelessness is something that is very apparent, that's one. But second, because my brother did run away from home many, many times, especially when he was young. Whenever he couldn't face, say, a tension between family members, he would run away from home. And it was the time before handphone, and there's just no way to track him down. So all we could do is just wait and drive around and look for him, especially, you know, with my mother, and she's always so worried. We find him in different places, under the bridge, in churches, in the school. And so it is something that I always wonder what happened.
Yeah, and the theme was actually explored further in the cut before the one that you just watched.
Oh yeah.
There was other scenes of, in fact, GUANG was communicating with a homeless lady where she advised him about life in a very crude, homeless manner. And so we did actually explore it further, but I think it was actually kept even less in the final edit. But there was some themes of that, but I don't think it was something that was for us fitting in as a theme of the film.
This came because the furthest he has ever run away, he took a bus and just went to a different state. On the way there, very fortunately, I think 2 other passengers saw how he was and kind of know that, okay, something's not right with this guy, and sat down with him and convinced him to take the ticket and come back. And we found him at the bus stand.
Wow.
And that's basically the genesis of CHUAN. Why is he in the bus? You know, how he made a good hearted person that is, you know, that ultimately listens to him. That's the genesis of it, actually. Sorry, what was the second question?
Suan's my wife. Her name's also Suan.
Oh yeah, Suan is named after his wife.
The character is also based on her. By the way, just want to.
Right.
Sorry, what's the second question? Lily?
So the second direction, I think, was for Ismail. What direction are you going into now?
I think well, we okay. So after Guang, we wanted to make another film, of course, and we've been like toying around with many themes: comedy, Malay comedy, perhaps
historical.
Historical is what I'm really into, which might be my next project that I'm trying to get off the ground. But truthfully, COVID happened. And now we're back to commercial.
In fact, I'm so far back. I'm even doing some online videos across my Instagram, 45 seconds entertaining stuff.
And Reservoir's grown really big over the years. And now we gotta take care of the company first and foremost. And put all our next film dreams on hold for now. While we go back and focus into commercials, and then maybe after that but we're still exploring anyways. We don't know, like, okay, we're gonna do that next, and we told each other that we have to know exactly what we want to do next rather than search around and so that moment.
I want to do humor.
But that moment hasn't truly come yet.
Yes.
For us, and we're waiting for that, or at least open up for that to happen to us.
That's great. So I think we're coming towards the end. Oh, I see one question from Anthony. Is that yes?
Hi, my name is Anthony. I'm with the ASHK of Malaysian Association. So it's a very good film and really reminded me of some important message that we all should have. Everybody is unique. So just wondering if this movie has been shown to your brother, and what is your brother's reaction to this movie?
I've shown him many times, and he usually walks out before the fight. Before the fight, he will walk out. And
before when the brother slaps going around.
But it is something that, as mentioned, when I show him, he's definitely not touched at all. He's not touched. But that is something that I am used to, and I will actually be more surprised if he was touched. He gave me the exact kind of reaction that I was expecting, which is quite flat. And talking about the more tactical things, this guy he listens to this frequency, this particular frequency, how many glasses are used within the instrument?
I remember one thing he did say though, it's like, I definitely cannot go homeless at that guy.
Yes.
I wouldn't be.
You get very, for me to convey all the other emotions that my brother have towards the film. As mentioned, the C note is always there. And it's very different from a normal audience. It's very different from you and I would say. Yes.
Fantastic. So I think we have one more room. Okay.
Okay, my name is Casey Gan. I represent the Malaysia Chamber. I think most of you here know. And I would like to congratulate you for a fantastic film.
Thank you.
Ismail and QUEK. And from Hong Kong, we have many Malaysians. And let us know when things open up. If you do come to Hong Kong, we can meet up. And also, if there's anything we can help, please contact Saniza. From all of us, I think you all deserve a great applause. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. So before we close, I also wanted to say thank you guys. We've come to the end of the Q&A, and I wanted to thank Ismail and QUEK for their time and the sharing. And I think it was a really lively discussion. And really, judging from the questions, I'm sure the audience found the movie as well as the insights and discussions after insightful and interesting. I think before we end for the evening, I believe Alice would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Saniza. But I actually have a question that I wanted to.
Go ahead.
Because I think Saniza in the beginning mentioned your work, both of you, with Netflix, and now in the time of COVID, I think we're all kind of Netflixed out. But until the year is out, what are some of the? I'm just curious. Would GUANG be picked up in Netflix? Because it's always nice to see diverse content, and I would love to be able to recommend this to friends and family in the States and other parts of the world. Will it be picked up by Netflix or other?
So we're working on it. I think we made some bad decisions when it comes to selling those rights at the time when we needed it. But we're rectifying it. So right now, there's nowhere in the world that you can watch this film. So like, not even in the flights anymore. I think it's no longer there where Saniza first watched it. So we're hoping in the next 1 year, it will be up, hopefully, on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's what we're working towards.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. Thank you. That's good news for all of us. And I want to, again, thank you all for being here. And again, I'm Executive Director of Asia Society Hong Kong Center. And I am really, really delighted. I'm a film buff, and I'm always looking for Asian films. And because I grew up watching a lot of Hong Kong movies and also a lot of Asian films growing up in Taiwan. So when I see young filmmakers like this, I get really excited. And also here in Hong Kong, I know we have a Venice, and I know Stanley is here. Thank you, Stanley, for being here. But also recently with Venice, Anne Hui winning that honor as a lifetime achievement. So it's really exciting. And thank you, Saniza and Michael, for sponsoring this and bringing this. And I also want to thank Dr. Sri Che Cheng Hai. Thank you. And tomorrow we have another showing. And I'm so delighted you can be here with us for this tonight's film and discussion. And look forward to future discussion when there are future films, because Asia Society's network
Thank you so much for
is not
having
just
us.
Hong
Thank you so
Kong.
much.
We have 13 centers, and they're always looking for interesting film, Asian filmmaker, Asian content. So I definitely will be introducing you to our colleagues in the other Asia Society centers. And of course, our program partner, the Malaysian Chamber. Thank you, Dr. Gan, for being here, and all of you. And we look forward to, now that we're not back to normal yet, it's going to be a while, and whenever we can do programs like this, tonight is 70% capacity. We look forward to welcoming you back to Asia Society for future program. And also, thank you all for being here, and have a wonderful weekend. And tomorrow, I think there are still tickets available for tomorrow. So if you like it, tell your friends about it, and come and join us for tomorrow morning screening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
both. Thank you, Saniza.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. See you guys soon.